Hello everybody, Ketchi39 with Ketchi Gaming. It's been a while since I put out any video, the last one being the Disney wanting to buy EA video. But I wanted to do something a little different. So I finally had some free time due to being unable to work due to having tendonitis in both knees to the point where I can't stand for more than an hour or two, along with some other issues in my life. I finally have some free time to make a video. And I wanted to do something maybe a touch on the light-hearted side. Or maybe it's cynical. I don't know. You be the judge on that one. So just before the holidays kicked off and I became extremely busy, I was able to play a handful of games that recently came out, including the Mario RPG remake, as well as Alan Wake and a bunch of the other Game of the Year games as well. But those being the most recent of the two. On top of that, I knocked out a couple of games from my backlog, including the Dead Space remake. Now, there's one thing I noticed in most of these titles, and I want to bring up a clip of Alan Wake. The dirtiness of the bathroom is not what I'm pointing at. I was looking at the mirror, and the mirror is fuzzy. Like, really fuzzy. And considering the nature of the game, how advanced it is, it seems a little odd to me that they don't actually have a legitimate reflective surface. They kind of just went with this blurry image, and this isn't the only game that has done it. There's tons of them. And I've only sort of recorded clips as I played because I've been making this over a couple months, recording clips every time I come across mirrors. And Alan Wake isn't alone in this. Let's take a look at RoboCop here. No mirrors at all. Not one. And there are other games that have done it that are older that have done the same thing. Here's Hogwarts Legacy. It has a semi-reflective surface, but that's as good as it gets. Let's check out another game from this year, Payday 3. Maybe some reflectiveness, but for the most part, none. Then there's an older game, Gears 5, still a very visually impressive game, but zero reflections whatsoever. We're going to go even further back than that with the original Dead Space, where they, again, have zero mirrors in place of having mirrors at all. And here's the remake. They actually added mirrors, but they tarnished them to the point where it has almost no reflective properties whatsoever. And here's another game, Ghostwire Tokyo. Not a recent release, but still not very old. And again, no reflective surfaces. Now let's switch over to an older game. Back in the 2000s, Luigi's Mansion. They made some uses of mirrors, but they still had them. Most of the time in the past, when they had mirrors, they were just cameras. They can't actually simulate reflective surfaces. Eventually, they have been able to do that, and it seems a little weird that in newer games that they just don't bother, especially when the characters aren't customizable. They're pre-made characters, and they just don't bother with the reflective surface. I'm kind of wondering why, just a little bit. And here's Mario RPG. Look at the floor. You can see Mario's reflection, including him blinking. I'm sure I can find more examples of it. And it's been pretty much since the PS2 era, GameCube, and the original Xbox that reflections have been more or less legitimate and the hardware's been capable of it. It just seems kind of a weird step backwards to not have reflections in the game. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, Luigi's Mansion 3 used it to some effect for solving puzzles and other things. It's just a minor detail that I guess some people might not notice. A friend said that to me. I don't know how much of that is true. It just seems a bit odd, though, that it's kind of a form of showing off to have a actual reflection in game, and then they just don't bother. I mean, I can show you a clip, but I'm not going to because I don't feel like playing Miles Morales Spider-Man or any of the Spider-Man games of reflective glass capturing Spider-Man's image as he swings by or fights. But other games just don't bother with the reflective surface. It's not disturbing. It just seems out of place that they go through the whole entire effort of putting in mirrors and then not having a reflective surface showing the character in it. I mean, it doesn't really detract from the gameplay unless mirrors were somehow part of it. Anyways, I just felt like pointing that out because I've noticed it over the last couple of months. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Have a good one.